Hello everybody, I've had a few requests for some more smoking videos now, so I'm going to do my personal favorite, which is smoked chickens. I'll give you the brine recipe here and I'll actually do it. And I'll kind of tell you what my plan is as I go along here, so let's get started. I'll go ahead and read the ingredients to you. Now this is for 3 to 5 pound chickens. It'll take 2 cups of brown sugar, light brown sugar, half a cup of salt, 3 quarts of water, well actually that's not right, 1.5 quarts of water, garlic to your taste. I use this, where's that? I use this minced garlic, and I really load it up because we like garlic. About 10 cloves, about 1/8 cup of ginger, and I also add some Lowry's seasoning salt, or Johnny's is a good substitute. So anyway, I'll set this down and I'll get to mixing. And real apple juice. We actually juice our own apple juice and then my wife cans it. So here's the brown sugar, 2 cups. I'm going to need a bigger pan, I can already see it. Do a cup of apple juice. This is more like an apple cider since we press it ourselves. Salt. I'm going to do 1/2 cup of salt. You don't have to do 1/2 cup. You could actually get by the 1/4. Garlic. I like about 4 heaping tablespoons, something like that, of minced garlic. The cloves. You know what those are? These are them little, almost look like little twigs. Count out about 10 of them. There's 12. Good enough. Ginger. We're actually not going to do 1/2 cup. We're just going to do a couple teaspoons, which still gives a nice little flavor. Something else that you can add to this, I'm not going to do it on this one because I don't know if we have any, it's frozen orange juice. Oh, we do have it. And it doesn't take a lot. In fact, you can overdo it with the orange juice. Just get yourself some frozen concentrated orange juice. And really all you need is a couple good tablespoons. That's more like 1.5 tablespoons, so about like that. If you overdo it with the orange juice, you get a real citrusy taste to your chicken, and it actually almost overpowers the other flavors that are trying to come out. Go ahead and add about another cup of water to this mix. Then what you're going to do is you're going to simmer this because you want to dissolve. I put on about a medium, a little bit above medium heat. And I'm not going to bore you with this, but the idea here is to simmer this until you dissolve the salt and the sugar and seasonings. I didn't do the Lowry's yet. What we'll do here on Lowry's, we'll just do 2 teaspoons, good heaping teaspoons. And after this simmers, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight and let it cool. And that'll give it a chance to really just marinate in its own juices, which really makes for a good brine. And then we'll be injecting that into our chickens. So what I'll do is I'll come back tomorrow when I'm prepping the chickens and getting them ready, and I'll show you what I do there. Okay, folks, it's the next day, and my marinade sat overnight in the refrigerator and put in a jar. Here's these little chickens. A little tip for you if you're going to do this, but you should. It's an excellent recipe. But what you need to do is buy your chickens all about the same size. 3.5 to 4 pounds, up to 5 pounds, but try to keep them as close in poundage to each other as you can. They smoke better that way. They all come out more even and they get done at the same time. So what we're going to do next, take your marinade, you're going to strain out the garlic and the cloves. You're not going to throw this away. This is some good stuff. You'll see what we'll do with it here in a bit. So drain that off the best you can. Okay. Get yourself a good injector. A good injector is very important. This injector here actually has 2 ports to squirt the juice out. So you'll want to get something that's good and seals well. There you go. You're going to inject into each side of the breast, basically until you swell that breast up and it starts pushing that marinade back out at you. This is, I have to say, is probably my favorite thing to smoke. And to be honest, to do a little bragging here, everybody that has me smoke things for them, which is quite often, this is everybody else's #1 favorite thing I smoke. Besides the steelhead, people really like my smoked steelhead too. This is the same marinade or recipe you would use if you were going to smoke turkeys. Works really good on turkeys as well. Any type of poultry. Game birds, pheasants would work good. So you're going to fill the breast completely full, and the legs, the thighs and leg. I'm doing 4 turkeys here today. That recipe I gave you yesterday is plenty of marinade for 4 turkeys. Or 1 whole turkey. And a large turkey. It'd be enough for a 18 to 20 pound turkey, or even bigger. You can see how those chicken breasts just swell up. You're going to lose some of your marinade. It's going to come out in different pores of the meat and drip off the pan. So you definitely want to do this into some pans, because it does tend to make kind of a mess. And this being sugar, it's a real sticky. Real sticky marinade. But damn, is it good. Okay, so I darn near used that whole quart, very close to this one. I'd say that's looking pretty good on all of them. Okay, the rest is just kind of leaking out. So call that good. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to take the garlic and clove mix. That you have set aside. You're going to tie the legs up. We just use that string you get from your local butcher. We go by and they just give us 15 or 20 feet of it, and it lasts quite a while. Take yourself a teaspoon and put up inside the cavity of the bird, no matter what bird you're doing. Put a good teaspoon, divide that, you know, if you're doing 4 birds, just divide it up roughly evenly. In fact, I think 2 of these chickens are for other people. We're going to keep 2 for ourselves. But, people really like my chickens. Every time somebody has them, they just want more. So, it's an extremely good recipe here. Okay, next up, pour the rest of the juice in that bowl. You want to pour the excess marinade that leaked out of your chickens. Pour that off. You could pour it back in your bowl, but not real necessary. We're going to take some oil, olive oil or vegetable oil, whatever you prefer. Pour just a little bit on each bird. Do the backs first. You'll see why in a minute. And you're just giving it a coating of oil. What this is going to do, it's going to help the skin brown really nice in the smoker. Flip it over. Actually, not yet. It's not flipped over yet. Brown everything really nice. Then you're going to take 3 different seasonings here. Chili powder, ground red pepper, and paprika. Start with your paprika and just give it a nice, thorough coating. Do your chili powder. Doesn't take a lot of chili powder. Just this kind of gives it some nice. This will be nice and golden brownish, kind of more of a red after it's smoked. But it does tend to soak into the meat as it's smoking, cooking. And then your ground red pepper. Ooh, it comes up fast. And you're going to want to rub that all over. The reason you flip it over onto its back first is because you want the breast side, just like when you're baking turkey, that's how you're presenting at the table. You want it to be really nice and looks nice. So right here, if you did the other side first, some of it would tend to wipe off. So give each shot of these a little bit of oil again. Doesn't take much. Paprika right there. Start over with your seasonings. You can tie the wings. Most of the time I don't worry about it on chickens. Turkeys I do. I tie a nice little bow around the chest on the wings. Makes a nice presentation. We give these away for Christmas. In fact, there's a local guy in town who hires me to do about 15 chickens every Christmas he gives away. Anyway, he hires me to smoke all of his birds for him. So you want them to look well when you're doing that. And you want to rub that in again. Get inside the wings. Now after you do this would be the time, if you're going to tie the wings for presentation, that would be the time to do it. And then what we're going to do here is put these in the smoker at 250 degrees using hickory. And in about 3 hours I will be injecting these chickens with a mixture of melted real butter, not the crappy margarine crap, real butter, and garlic powder. Make a mixture of that and melt it on your stove, mix it up real good, and then inject it. You'll want probably a cup of it. Inject it in roughly equal amounts into each chicken at about the 3 hour mark, or maybe even, let's see, the 3.5 hour mark. You only want it to sit in the bird while it's cooking for about 30 minutes because it tends to boil out if you leave it in there too long. But that gives it just a really nice little flavor additive. And that's really all there is to it, folks. Add your wood about 3 to 4 times throughout the smoke, about every hour as needed. If you're using the chips or the pellets, or I don't know on those, I've never used that. I've used the chips, so those I got to add much more frequently than I do the chunks of wood that I use. Pull it out. You'll want your internal temperature of the chicken to be 180. I believe it's 180. Let me look. I need to find my meat thermometer. I believe it's 180 on chicken. Those will pull them out at about 175, and they'll finish cooking on your own. You don't want to overdo them; they tend to get dried out. And that's all there is to it. You guys ought to give this recipe a whirl. It is awesome. It's a really good one. So anyway, I'll come back. I'll probably check in back during the smoking process, and then I'll come back after they're done and show you how they look.